There are four levels of afflictions or feelings that an individual has to deal with in this life. Those are at the levels of senses, which is temptation, followed by desires, which are at the level of subconscious mind, followed by intention, which is at the level of delineating intellect, followed by witnesser, which is at the level of Atman or the soul, and finally at the level of controller, which is at the level of Paramatman, if you ever unite your Atman with the Paramatman. So let us try to understand what each of these afflictions, which masquerade themselves as affections or feelings, will present. But you will see that as we go deeper and deeper, these affections/afflictions become more neutral and don't seem to have that component of sudden, short-lived pleasure, but more of a long-lived contentment or satisfaction that seems to accompany them. The first level at which the karmas that we perform can be tormented are at the level of temptations. So this can be in the form of certain vishayas that are presenting to us. Vishayas is a very common term that is used to describe the objects that will attract us towards themselves, because these are like ligands and we are like receptors. Our senses are receptors, so they're always looking for the ligands or the things they can attach to because of the complementary structure that there is. So Vishayas could be things like a cookie, when it is satiating the receptor of taste. Vishaya could be good music, chanting, hymn, Bollywood song that is satiating the sense of hearing and so forth. Hearing. Or sight, similarly, if you're seeing something. So those things are the Vishayas, and they create this affinity to unite the Vishaya with the senses is nothing but temptation. So if you do not have a Vishaya around the senses, you will not get tempted. When Bill Clinton committed adultery in the White House, that happened because a 23-year intern was very close to him. That's why you'll hear the brahmacharis saying that they will try to avoid contact with women. And a lot of times people will totally eradicate the Vishaya, because that way you are not tormenting the senses to attach to the Vishayas. The moment you have attached the Vishaya to the senses, you have created an experience. That experience that will be registered in your mind as a subconscious samskara. So samskaras are nothing but the collection of impressions that we have accumulated through persistent repeating of those activities through the combination of the Vishaya with the senses. So if you enjoy eating cookies, you eat it every day, it becomes a ritual. If you love drinking coffee first thing in the morning, you drink it every day, it becomes a ritual. So if you do not get it at that predestined time when it was supposed to be there, say you are used to drinking coffee every day in the morning. So the moment it is 24 hours and you don't get coffee, you crave. So craving is nothing but a strong surge and urge to get back to the combination of the Vishaya with the sense, because you have had created that neuronal pathway. So again, Vishayas, if you remove them, you have removed the temptation. You are not reinforcing the already established neuronal networks that are precursors to desires. So, this is what desires are. Desires are basically wanting to relive past experiences because they seem pleasuring, at least for the few moments of dopamine surge. And you want to get back to that experience either in times of stress, irritability, anxiety. Whenever there is feeling of internal completeness, you're feeling wholesome and satisfied, you will have least number of desires. The moment you have agitated yourself, either through irritations or feeling empty, low self-esteem, or you have agitated yourself with one of the senses, say you ate a lot of food, then you might have the libido come up suddenly. So this is the beauty of the senses. When one gets satiated, the other four are left, and they're like, "What about me? Come to me, honey." So that's why it's important not to satiate a single one of them, and that can be done by total eradication of the objects or the vishayas from the surroundings as far as possible. Of course, it's an incremental process, but has to totally eradicate so that new experiences are not created, which are registered in the subconscious as samskaras, because that will give rise to desires happening at the level of mind. So, if you don't create new neuronal networks, the existing neuronal networks of the samskaras are going to slowly fade away and disintegrate. And that is the point when we will not feel the urge and the surge to commit certain things because those vasanas have been annihilated. Dhyana helps to annihilate the vasanas because dhyana is occurring at the level of the intellect. Indriyani parani andre paramana manasastu para buddhiyo buddhi partastusa. So, if that is the sequence, Indriyani or senses, followed by the mind, followed by the intellect, followed by the soul, that is the sequence in which you can suppress and eradicate the pre-existing neural networks. So, mind creates desires based on past samskaras or experiences of the Vishayas. So, that tells us two things. Temptation, there is an intense surge of pleasure that is extremely short-lived when you contact the senses with the objects of sensual gratification, whether it be sex, which will be performed only for a certain period of time and then to the refractory period, or whether you are eating cookies. After eating four, the fifth one you are like, okay, forget it, it's too much. So that's the beauty of the Vishayas, that you cannot handle them for long because that's not your true nature. It was a disadvantage or a debt that you were born with because you have to pay back. You took the body, the parts of Prakriti to manifest your desires, and that's why you have to pay this debt of feeling lonely and unhappy. That's the nature of the senses, to always make you feel like a loser. The third level of affliction is more subtle, and that is called intention. I have repeatedly talked about this. Intentions are not desires. Desires are something that crop up from past activities where senses have combined with the objects to create a temporary surge of dopamine called pleasure. So desires are deep rooted than temptations because there is a component of persistent repeat through which they have been established in the neural networks. But desires are still superficial when compared to intentions. Intentions happens from reflecting that property of soul that tries to establish Brahmanic neutrality in everything. Brahmanic neutrality represents the state of balance, equiposition, and lack of any desire, aversions, temptations. So, when you establish dharma or do what is the right thing to do, the moral righteousness, that is intention. When Ramchandra leaves the forest leaves for the forest and gives up his kingdom to go and live in the forest at the request of his father, that is intention. When you have a clear-cut knowledge of what is right to do, and what is wrong, when you are set in dharma and you don't do any favors or hatred, then you are getting very close to Brahman. And that is the state of intention. Intention represents, uh, intention represents a state of emptiness inside. And by establishing dharma and doing the right thing, you are slowly filling that void inside you. Now, why did that void happen? That void happened the very moment you got a desire, because you saw the things that you saw around you. So, as you know, the fourth layer is Atma or soul, which is a witnesser. So, witnesser is seeing all the activities, because a witnesser is a Purusha. The Purusha is seeing all the activities that are going on in the field being the Prakriti, full of objects. So every now and then, when the witnesser sees the things, he wants to enjoy the things. But if you want to enjoy something, you have to go into the gross body, because in the form of an Atman, you are a Karan Sharir. You're not even a Sukshma Sharir. You are a Karan Sharir. You are like a causal body. So to get to the uh, enjoying the field, because Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara, those are the characteristics of Atman: supporter, enjoyer, and controller. But when you want to enjoy some elements of Prakriti, the Atman moiety has to break away from the Paramatman moiety, and then it takes up the clout of desires, intentions, and then goes on the world to enjoy the temptations. Because the bhokta component of that Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara, bhokta is the enjoyer. So this enjoying tendency is what gets us in trouble, because enjoyment was supposed to mean establishment of dharma and brahmanical neutrality. But when it derogatorily pushes itself down to become one that wants to enjoy the temporary surges in the Prakriti, because Prakriti is full of things which can be enjoyed, then it has to pay the price, which is going through births and rebirths until it finds its home back and go back to the region from where it came from, Paramatma. So, the Atman is only a witnesser. And the last stage is the Paramatman, which is a controller, which is everything actually. It's Bharta Bhakta Maheshwara represents the concept of Paramatma, which has Brahmanical neutrality, and it doesn't favor anybody, it doesn't hate anybody, and it sees everything that is within itself, although it is not itself in everything. That is the way Krishna puts it. So it's very important to distinguish all these five, and whenever a feeling or affliction arises in us, we have to categorize it, whether it is a temptation, a desire, intention, a witnesser thing, that witnessing, or controlling. Of course, it's very hard to be witnessing or controlling until you have overcome temptations, desires. So, what is the best thing we can do? Well, whenever you want to annihilate the things that are stopping you from spiritually progressing, which is temptations and desires, you have to slowly, systematically dismantle the desire. And by slowly, systematically dismantling, I mean you have to question it and break it down totally. So, for instance, let me pick up the desire to have sex. This is probably the most strong vasanas that all individuals are born with. And most of the crimes or even activities that we commit on our day-to-day lives have some component of sex every 24 hours, I would guess. So if someone has this strong urge to, say a boy has a strong urge to kiss a girl, and now they want to perform a French kiss, just ask yourself in the mind that, okay, if you are a buffalo, would you like to French kiss another buffalo? And how about putting your tongue in the mouth of a buffalo so that there's a tongue there too? So if that kind of annihilation can be performed, instantly there's a feeling of aversion, like, oh my God, what are you talking about? Or if you're turned on by seeing breasts, how do you like seeing a cow's teats or something like that? So you have to say, if you are born in this species, you are enjoying this. If you're a cow, you'll start enjoying being around cowgirls or whatever the term is. But the point I'm trying to make is that it is so much a game of Maya and delusion that gives you a set of inadequacies or debt that you are born with in the form of senses that it asks you to constantly replenish, because life is a price we pay for recognizing who we are, because we are kind of borrowing the senses, mind, and intellect, which are not our true nature. So there's a price you should pay when you're renting some qualities. So by total disintegration of or splitting, asking 1,000 questions. Why do you like sex? Would you like sex if you had been this species? Or would you like sex all 24 hours of a day? So by constantly asking questions, you are nagging the hell out of that topic, and then you get into vairagya. This is how you develop vairagya. Vairagya is nothing but constant curiosity to understand affliction and thereby disintegrating in totality. Whereas abhyasa is the quality where you are persistently pursuing something without thinking the good and bad about it. So did you see that when Arjuna asked that controlling the mind is so hard, chanchalam hi mana krish pramati balodhyam taneham nigre mane virus sudishkaram. It's so hard to control the mind. It's harder than to control the wind in your hand. And Krishna answers them, abhyasin tu vairagyen kante. So with abhyas and vairagya you can do it. Abhyasa is constant practice, which is tamas, because mindless practice. You don't question it. That's why it's divine tamas. And vairagyan is constantly asking, vairagya or detachment, constantly asking questions to dismantle a certain notion until it does not exist. So you are using abhyasa, a divine tamas, and vairagya, a divine rajas, to overcome your pre-established vasanas, and which have been ingrained down as samskaras and holding you back from advancing spiritually. So, to sum up, my friends, there are 4 levels of afflictions or feelings that an individual has in this life, and that is the first level, that is most superficial, temptation. You always need a tempting object around you for temptations to happen at the level of senses. Once you give into the temptation, you have created an experience, a neuronal network, which is registered as a samskara or a vasana, which will constantly, periodically reactivate itself as desires which need to be fulfilled, because there's a memory, smriti, associated with those past temptations that you have given into. Samskaras or vasanas are registered in the subconscious. They rise up as desires in the mind, whereas senses give rise to temptations and tantalize us all the time. The third level, which is more deeper level, is intentions, because you feel a part of you has been taken away from you and you want to replete that. So that sense of being a judge of wrong and right is what creates dharma in the delineating intellect realm, and it manifests as intentions. Intentions, therefore, are deeper than desires, which themselves are deeper than temptations. So temptations are the most superficial. Always try to inculcate intentions. Well, you cannot inculcate, actually, it just comes to you. But intentions are the things that you should always pursue and will be most successful in this world. Desires sometimes will fail. Temptations will always fail. And witnesser is the last level. When you do not have anything, a craving or empty inside you, you become just a witnesser of things that are around you. That is the characteristic of Purusha. However, when you have overcome all these things, which is temptations in the senses, desires in the mind, intentions in the intellect, because there's nothing to fix, everything is fixed, and there's nothing to witness, then that person has united with the Paramatma and has become Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara. The Maheshwara, or the controller component, comes to help those things which are still in disarray and not in Brahminical neutrality. Hope you like this audio.